Pastor, Associate Pastor of Faith Spiritual Baptist, Chris Edmonds. Chris, are you here? So we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then you can come right here and we'll do the prayer. Everyone please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you that we can come into your presence now. We thank you that everything exists because of you. And Lord, even our own city here. Lord, I'm asking that you give wisdom to the men and women who make decisions daily for Goldsboro. I pray for the council, especially the mayor, that you would help them and guide them and help this meeting today to be prosperous, to be healthy and good for the citizens of Goldsboro. And Lord, I pray that your hand of protection would be upon us. And God, we recognize your goodness today, but we also realize that through Jesus, Lord, there's real hope. We're thankful for that as well today. And again, I'm asking for your hand and your power and your presence to be in this meeting and on this place now, in our city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you doing that for us tonight. Next, we'll have a roll call vote.
Mayor Allen?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ham?
Here.
Councilman Williams?
Here.
Councilman Broadway?
Here.
Councilman Foster?
Present.
Councilman Aycock?
Here. All right. Next, we have the approval of the minutes for the City Council retreat on March 21st, 22nd, and the regular meeting of April 2nd, 2018.
I move that we don't approve them. They need to be revised.
There's a motion to not approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, likewise. The minutes are approved.
I just want to put on record that I actually received those minutes from the retreat. I received them yesterday, and I read them thoroughly, and there was a lot of information that wasn't in there.
So if you would, please note that, and then if there are any corrections to be made, then certainly we can do that and get it to the council.
And Mayor, you get a motion not to approve them. We do need a motion to approve them if you want.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Presentations, Gold Star.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council.
Good evening.
The purpose of the Golden Star Award is to recognize city employees for their contributions to the city of Goldsboro. Its primary aim is to award employees for going above and beyond the normal scope of duties, as well as promoting the organization's values and beliefs of integrity, professionalism, collaboration, and quality of life. The STAR evaluation should specifically focus on job-related outputs and/or accomplishments to include customer service, problem solving, and teamwork. At this time, I would like the nominees to come forward to present the April 2018 Star Awards, starting with Ms. Jennifer.
Good evening.
Mayor and City Council, this employee is an employee of our custodial staff. Kenny Touton, our zoning administrator, actually nominated Thomas Bonner for the Golden Star Award for a recent activity that took place within our common reception area in City Hall. Recently, he was responsible for cleanup of a common reception area and public toilet facilities after a citizen's personal emergency. The incident took place during a busy time of day when customers were paying water bills. The entire lobby had to be cleaned quickly, as well as the area had to be under constant supervision to ensure no one accidentally slipped from the wet floors. Rarely does an incident such as this one occur, so I do believe he went above and beyond to make sure our area was safe for any remaining citizens that came into the area to needing assistance. So I would like Thomas Bonner to come forward, please. Thomas, thank you so much for everything you do. Your daily duties we take for granted, and just know that you're appreciated for everything you do. I'm sure.
First off,
All the time.
First off, I just want to say this man works in this city diligently every day. He's in our office every day. He's usually up here telling me what I need to do different or right or wrong, but get a lot of opinions out of him, so we do appreciate he keeps this place looking great with all his associates that help us. So we do very much appreciate what you do for us, and especially the, when you get little. I mean, what did I say? I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dennis Russell. I'm from Dallas Sanitation. We've got some superstars down there with us. We got a couple of them here tonight who give us something to what they did. If you remember back in January the 4th, I believe we had a snowstorm. We don't go behind houses and get cans anymore. But these three guys, because some people didn't get their trash out, couldn't get it out, didn't get it out because of the snow. They went behind the house and actually got the can for some residents. And I didn't call them. Somebody from out there actually in the resident called me, called the mayor, said they called the city manager, said I saw these guys going behind the house. We don't do that anymore, but they do. All right, and for that we present them. Great rehearsal.
Get them all quick.
Okay, keep and then.
I do want to say while we're doing this, is these guys, we follow these guys, they work their hearts out, they do a lot for us, and we really appreciate what y'all do for us. If somebody's garbage doesn't get picked up, we know pretty quick. All right, well, come on, let's get a picture. Well, I will do it one at a time, because it'll make it look better. Bring it. You're going to make it look better. You see, I like that smile. Thank y'all. That is enough.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager. A few months ago, Darren's, it was after hours work, so it wasn't even during working hours. I was a few cars behind him on Harris Street, and just as soon as he gets to the free clinic area, I believe it was, right? He saw a vehicle, a motorist stranded on the side of the road. Everybody else just kept going around. Darren flips right around into the health clinic, jumps out. By the time I pull up, I see him, he's running across the street just to go help this motorist. Now remember, keep in mind again also, this was after hours, so it was my privilege to go ahead and nominate Darren for the Star Award for that deed.
First off, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Hold on there. Come on now. You got to do better this time. All right, with that, we're going to move into public hearings. And our first public hearing is item C, zoning ordinance amendment.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. Item C is zoning ordinance amendment for multifamily development. Council requested that staff prepare an amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance as it relates to conversion of existing single-family dwellings into multifamily units. There have been a number of instances where a single-family dwelling in a single-family neighborhood is proposed to be converted into multifamily units. In most cases, this would not be compatible with existing single-family development. Staff has prepared an amendment which would require that all new multifamily construction or conversion to multifamily in excess of 3 or more units obtain a conditional use permit within the R12, R9, and R6 residential zones, and the office and residence zone, and the central business district. Council already reviews multifamily developments where the site contains 1 acre or more. In addition, conversion of single-family units to 3 or more within the CBD already requires site and landscape plan approval and review. The proposed amendment will support existing requirements while additionally protecting single-family neighborhoods from incompatible development. A notice of public hearing for this amendment was advertised in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks prior to the public hearing in accordance with state law. At this time, there is no action necessary, and the Planning Commission will have a recommendation for council's meeting on June 4th.
Any questions of Jennifer? All right, thank you, Jennifer. This is a public hearing for the zoning ordinance amendment. Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against or have any input on this public hearing ordinance? Would anybody like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we will close this, refer it to the Planning Commission, and we'll move to item D.
Item D is Z718 Elsie Riles. The property is located on the north side of Van Street between Nanny Riles Street and Van Street terminus. The applicant requests a zoning change from R6 residential to RM9 residential mobile home. Surrounding zoning to the north, south, east, and west, you have R6 residential. There is 1 manufactured mobile home located on the property at the present time. The applicant is requesting rezoning in order to allow the existing mobile home to remain on the lot. The city's adopted land use plan recommends high-density residential development for the property. The requested RM9 zone would be considered medium-density residential according to the land use plan. City water and sewer lines are available to serve the property, and the property is not located within a flood hazard area. In the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew, the applicant received a mobile unit for temporary relocation while repairs to an adjoining dwelling were made. The dwelling has not been completely rehabilitated, and the applicant now plans to purchase the mobile unit and leave it in its existing space in order to continue occupying it. At this time, there is no action necessary, and the Planning Commission will have a recommendation for the council's meeting on June 4th. Here are pictures of the existing units. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, at this time we'll open a public hearing for the zoning change from R6 residential to RM9 residential mobile home. Would anybody from the audience like to speak? Anybody from the audience? Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
I'm Tyler Rouse Figueroa, and that is the home that we are currently residing in since our family home on the back side of it was damaged due to a hurricane. So I asked the powers that be allow us to keep the home there and allow us to purchase it, because without the city approval, then we cannot purchase it. And you all will see me if you vote differently.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody else? All right, well, we'll close that public hearing and move to item E. Well, County of Wayne.
Item E is Z818 County of Wayne. The property is located on the east side of Clemens Street between 4th Street and Corporate Drive. The applicant requests a zoning change from R9 residential, I2 industrial conditional district, and office and institutional 1 to office and institutional 2. Site plan approval in conjunction with the rezoning would also be requested. To the north, you have office and institutional 1, institutional 2 conditional district. To the south, you have existing zoning of residential 9. To the east, residential 9, and to the west are 20 residential. The property is owned by Wayne County. Currently, a portion of the property that fronts Clemens Street is occupied by the Wayne County Animal Adoption and Education Center. Site and landscape plans have been submitted for an emergency call center located south of the existing animal shelter and directly across the street from the City of Goldsboro's maintenance facility. The city's land use plan recommends office and institutional and medium density residential for the proposed site. City water and sewer are available to the site, and the site is not located in a special flood hazard area. The proposed emergency call center will be configured within that area of the property that is vacant, wooded, and bounded by portions of Clemens Street, 4th Street, Dakota Avenue, 5th Street, and Humphrey Street. A 24-foot wide asphalt drive from Clemens Street will be provided to access the visitors' parking lot and the private parking lot. The submitted site plan indicates a one-story, 11,900 square foot building, which will be constructed of brick. An 8-foot tall black vinyl coated chain link fence will enclose the building and the private employee parking lot. Authorized access for entry into the building will be required. One parking space is required per 300 square feet of the principal building's gross floor area. A total of 42 spaces have been provided and 40 spaces are required. The submitted landscape plan indicates that the existing woodlands will be used to satisfy the landscape buffer yard requirements for the site. And in addition, the applicant intends to supplement additional plantings to serve as parking lot trees and foundation plantings. Sidewalks are not shown on the submitted site plan, and according to the city's Unified Development Ordinance, sidewalks are required or the applicant is required to pay a fee in lieu of sidewalk construction at a rate of $15 per foot. That would be a total of roughly $7,950 if the applicant chooses to not install. Here are the elevations for the site. Again, this is will be constructed with brick veneer. At this time, there is no action necessary, and the Planning Commission will have a recommendation for council at their meeting on June 4th. Any questions?
What would they be using this building for, you know?
It's a 911 call center.
Okay.
Seeing no further questions, this is a public hearing for the County of Wayne, the east side of Cleveland Street between 4th Street and Corporate Drive. Would anybody like to speak? Anybody like to speak? Seeing none, we close this public hearing and we'll move to item F, CUZ 18 Lane Solar Farm.
Item F is CU2 18 Lane Solar Farm 2. The property is located on the south of Old Smithfield Road between Gin Road and NC 581 South. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow the development and operation of a solar farm facility. The property is zoned R20A residential. Solar farm operations are permitted use within this district. Excuse me. Only after the issuance of a conditional use permit approved by City Council. Council did approve the development of a 23-acre solar farm on the north side of Old Smithfield Road in 2017. This facility's area is 30 acres. The property is currently vacant farmland as shown on the map. The city's comprehensive land use plan designates the property for medium density residential development. City water and sewer are not available to the property, and the property is not located in a special flood hazard area. The submitted site plan indicates a private 20-foot wide gated access and gravel drive extending from Old Smithfield Road south to a 3-point turnaround located at the front of the site. The solar panels will be installed within the area to be surrounded by a 6-foot high chain link fence with barbed wire. In addition, vinyl privacy slats will be installed within the fencing along the front and both sides of the solar facility. A Type C 20-foot wide landscape buffer has been proposed surrounding the entire solar farm just outside the 6-foot tall chain link fence. At this time, there is no action necessary, and the Planning Commission will have a recommendation for council in their June 4th meeting. Here are some pictures of the site. Any questions?
Which road is that?
Which road?
What highway is that?
Old Smithfield.
Old Smithfield Road.
Okay.
Any more questions? Seeing no more questions, this is a public hearing for the Lane Solar Farm 2. Would anybody like to speak?
Mayor, you do have to swear them in.
Are you an attorney?
Yes, sir.
So is he the attorney? Does he have to be sworn in? Okay, well, she needs to swear you in apparently. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Brett Hanna. I'm an attorney with Nelson Mullins in Raleigh. I see that the council has a full agenda this evening, so I don't want to waste your time. I know you have a lot to do. We've brought a number of experts with us in order to help establish the 4 findings of fact that you're required to find. One, that this is in harmony with the local area, it's in conformity with the comprehensive plan, that doesn't pose any safety dangers, any health or hazards. We have an engineer who can speak to that, and also that it won't adversely affect adjoining property owners' values. We have a certified appraiser who can answer any questions the council may have in that regard. As far as the harmony and the compliance with the comprehensive plan, the fact that you've approved a similar facility across the street sort of speaks to those issues. But I would ask the council if you have any questions for our experts, they'd be glad to come and share what they know with you.
Anybody have any questions? I think we have none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody else? Are you getting up to speak?
I am.
Okay, well, if you'll let her swear you in as well,
Yes, sir.
please. I was hoping you were just getting up to let him back in.
I'll be brief.
You're good. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Thank you
Good
for having
answer.
us tonight. My name is Philip Martin. I'm with Cypress Creek Renewables out of Durham. Lane 2 Solar Farm is our project. It's been a while since I've been to Goldsboro, but we do have 2 operating assets in Goldsboro currently, and 5 in Wayne County. We love this area, so I want to just thank you for allowing us to be here. We want to be a good partner as well as good neighbors. So if you have any questions for me as the developer, I'm happy to answer anything you might have.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
All right, anybody else like to speak? Seeing no one else, we're going to close this public hearing and we're going to move to item G, CU 318 SWR Properties.
Item G is CU 318 SWR Properties LLC. The property is located on the north side of Patetown Road between Industry Court and North William Street. The applicant's requesting a conditional use permit to allow construction and operation of a concrete business. A concrete business is permitted within the I-2 zoning district after the issuance of a conditional use permit approved by City Council. This request was initially denied by Council on March 19th of 2018, and the applicant has now reapplied as the development plans for the site have been revised to include additional paved area. The site is occupied by a 52,000 square foot masonry block, brick, and metal commercial building divided into individual tenant spaces for lease. Currently, with the uses within the building include a restaurant, nail spa, electrical supply, and hardware company. The applicant now proposes to locate a concrete plant directly behind the main commercial building. The number of employees would be 11, and the hours of operation is 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday. While there is an existing access to the site through 2 curb cuts on Patetown Road, the applicant proposes that the main access to the concrete business will be provided through a 20-foot wide asphalt driveway to the site off Industry Court. Parking is based on 1 space per 2 employees and 1 space for each vehicle stored on site. Sufficient paid parking exists at the rear of the building for employees of the concrete business, as well as the 3 vehicles that are anticipated to be stored on the site. Site is subject to stormwater and drainage regulations as required by the City Engineering Department. The submitted site plan shows a proposed 14-foot by 14-foot office building located adjacent to a 62.94-foot tall concrete silo, belt conveyor, and batch hopper for transporting aggregates for cement production. The proposal meets the city's Unified Development Code requirement to provide a setback distance of 150% of the height of the proposed 50-foot tall silo. An existing 6-foot tall chain link fence with barbed wire encloses the site, and the applicant will install privacy slats within the existing fence to meet the requirements. Street trees are shown along both Patetown Road and Industry Court, and additional landscaping is shown along the western property line and Industry Court. The city's UDO requires that the concrete plant may not be located less than 1,000 feet from the residentially zoned or developed property. Residentially zoned property exists immediately to the southeast across Patetown Road, as well as to the north and west. A modification of the 1,000-foot requirement will be necessary. The applicant has also provided us the details needed for the equipment regarding dust, noise, vibrations, and those things to affect, so we have those items on file as well. At this time, there is no action necessary, and the planning commission will have a recommendation at council meeting on June 4th. Here are some pictures of the site. Everyone, we refer to this as Brick Village. And the concrete plan is being proposed at the rear of the building, which you see in this photo. Any questions for staff?
Any questions? All right, if not, this is a conditional use request to allow the construction operation of a concrete business on the north side of Paytown Road between Industry Court and North William Street. Would anybody like to speak? I'm gonna let, hold on, let's speak, let's, come on in, Tim, come on up, Tim, let's swear everybody in at one time. Anybody else want to speak? Anybody else want to speak about this? Okay, we'll swear both y'all in at the same time. Good evening.
Mayor Allen, Mr. Stevens, council members. I am Tiffany Creech, and I'm the existing industry manager with the Wayne County Development Alliance, and we are the lead economic development agency for the county of Wayne. In my role as existing industry manager, I support over 60 Wayne County manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, and machine shops in an effort to help them grow, expand, and remain viable here in our community. Our existing industries are an integral part of our local economy. They are our major job creators who employ our workers, and they broaden our tax base as they grow and expand. These existing industries deserve our constant attention and protection as they go about performing their operations. This attention and protection extends to anything at all that could possibly disrupt or hinder their operations. I'm speaking tonight to express my concern and respectful opposition to the proposed concrete plant on the north side of Paytown Road between Industry Court and North William Street. We believe the operation of a concrete plant at this location has the potential to adversely impact other industries nearby due to the dust and noise that concrete plants generally create during their normal operations. It has recently been announced that an existing food manufacturer will be expanding their operations into a facility located nearby the concrete plant site. They, along with other nearby manufacturers who operate precision machinery, have expressed concern that dust generated from the concrete facility could adversely affect their operations. In fact, the existing industry food manufacturer I just mentioned recently decided against purchasing a facility outside the city limits for their expansion simply because that facility was located near another concrete plant. Although I do realize a new concrete plant is an industry as well, that does create job and adds to the tax base. The difference is this proposition has the potential of adversely affecting other already established industries. I would ask that you carefully consider how this concrete plant will affect surrounding businesses and determine what measures need to be put in place in order to protect other already established industries from anything that could potentially disrupt or hinder their operations. Lastly, the Wayne County Development Alliance, the County of Wayne, the City of Goldsboro have all entered into an agreement to share the cost and revenue associated with the development of 118-acre industrial park, now referred to as the Goldsboro Industrial Campus, also located nearby the proposed concrete site. This plant will be marketed to food manufacturers, aviation and aerospace manufacturers, as well as to automotive manufacturers. Having a concrete plant located nearby the park has the potential to discourage companies from locating within the park. With a vested interest in this future park, it is important that we also protect the marketability of this park for future companies. Thank you for listening and for considering these thoughts as you consider this matter.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing? Just kind of wanted to go over what my plans are for this concrete plant per se that we're going to put up at 501 Baytown Road. I'm the owner of SWR Properties and TS Roads Supply that we're fixing to take over the Old Castle Adams location there. So we'll be the sole entity inside the building along with the 20 customers that we already have rented into the building. So I understand that having a concrete plant there based on what other people think about it, but I have a vested interest in the building itself with tenants that I have. I have a restaurant in there, and I have nail salons and all types of venues in there. So when I went to get this plant, I really put a lot of thought and time in to keep the dust down. Number one, this plant's a very small plant. It only makes 24 yards per hour. So I can't go in there and make 100,000 yards of concrete a month and create a lot of dust. The plant is 184 foot away from the closest property line that I have, and based on just a normal air quality control permit being 180.5 foot away from the property line, I'm allowed to make 815,000 yards of concrete in 1 year period before I have to go to a major air quality control permit. Now, based on that, I said, well, okay, if I make 10 to 12,000 yards of concrete a year, then I went ahead and it costed, almost $40,000 to up my air quality bag dust houses and everything. So I put a 225 square foot dust collector on top of the tank, so when we're unloading cement, it's a very small tank. It creates a CFM, cubic feet per minute, of 675 cubic yards a minute that goes in that tank. It will collect 3 times the amount of dust. When we load the hopper, there's another dust collector there that creates another 675 CFM dust collecting system. Now, all that was done because I was protecting my own interest in my own building that I have. If I have the tenants inside the building to move out because I'm putting a concrete plant within, saying it's cut your nose off, spite your face, that's what I'd be doing. So, based on that, the vibration, everything is made by air. We have got the only vibration that we have is a solid turbine vibrator. You guys have all this information to look at. It is, most of it's just fluffed up and then, returned down to the way hopper. So I've actually looked out behind my location where I'm 185 foot away from the next property line, which is the UPS Center. And their parking lot is gravel, rock, and dust, and they have 40, 50 trucks a day coming in and out. It's been like that since day one. Everything that we'll be riding on will be asphalt or concrete, so the dust, the dust that creates will be, very, very minimal. Loading the rocks in the bin. I know you guys have seen where you put sprinklers on rocks to keep the dust down. So we'll be doing everything that we can do to make as little dust as we can there. The concrete business is a very viable business to what we already do there. We'll be employing 11 additional people there. So it's growth in the community, and it's growth in our city, and it is hometown owned, it's family owned business. The profits of this company will stay inside the county and not be shipped overseas to an external company. So, you got any questions for me?
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
I appreciate your
Have a good
time.
night.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody else like to speak? All right, we will close this public hearing, and we will excuse our hard-working planning commission. Looks like y'all got some really good stuff. I like that. I like good stuff to do. And just for anybody that's here, you're meeting next Monday night? Is that right? 7 o'clock? Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock in here. Okay. So if anybody wants to come to the planning commission's meeting, it's next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Thank y'all, and y'all are welcome to stay. I didn't think we'd have any takers. All right, so next we're going to move to the public hearing for our recommended 2018-19 operating budget.
That's me.
That's you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Item H is the public hearing for our recommended fiscal year 2018-19 operating budget. General statute requires that the city council hold a public hearing prior to adopting the budget ordinance to allow citizen input concerning the budget. The following charts are a summary of the fiscal year 18-19 recommended budget presented to council the 1st of May and has been on file in the city clerk's office. Fiscal year 17-18 approved budget was a little over $59.3 million. The recommended fiscal year 18-19 budget is $61.4 million. The difference between these budget years is an increase of approximately $2.1 million. There are no recommendations in the next year's budget to increase property tax or water, sewer, or garbage rates. This slide is a recommended budget by revenue source. Our user fees, which is $24.5 million, which includes our water, sewer, refuge, parks and rec, and golf course and permit fees. Property tax is $16.5 million. Our sales tax is $9.2 million. Our state collected local revenues is $3.8 million, which is power bill, utility franchise, beer and wine revenues that we receive from the state. Capital returns, which is our investment earnings, equipment loan proceeds, and assessment, is a little over $996,000. Grants and other agencies, $4.8 million. Stormwater fee is a little over $1.5 million. And then we have a fund balance withdrawal from our Oxford tax fund of $20,683, which does our total anticipated revenue of $61,446,562. This slide breaks out our revenues by percentage. It's what we like to call where it comes from. As you can see, our largest areas of revenues is our user fees, which includes our water and sewer fees of 39.9%, and our property tax 28.87%. This slide is our recommended budget by fund. Our general fund is a little over $40.8 million. Our stormwater fund, $1.5 million. Our utility fund, a little over $18 million. Occupancy tax, $51,733, and our downtown district, $72,470, which of course breaks up all our funds by a little over $61 million. Where it goes, this here shows our public utilities at 24.8%. This includes our utility maintenance, water plant, water reclamation facility, and our compost facility. Our other general government departments is 14.7%. That's our downtown district, our general government divisions, and our travel and tourism. Special expense debt services, $8.9 million. Police department, 15.1%. And then we're looking at public works at 9.9%, and our fire department at 10%. Recreation and golf course is 6.3%. Occupancy tax fund, 1.7%. Municipal service district, 0.1%. Capital expenditures, or which is our capital outlay, 6.5%, and our stormwater department, 2%. This is a list of our agencies that was recommended and adjusted by council at their first work session. The changes that were made were that the chamber would be recommended for $20,000, Wayne County Alliance $25,000, the Literacy Connection $10,000, Rebuilding Broken Places $5,000, Community Crisis Center $5,000, Boys and Girls Club $5,000, Arts Council $25,000, Wages, which is nutrition for the elderly, $20,000, Watch $20,000, the Wayne County Museum $10,000, Community and School $15,000, Waynesboro Park $20,000, Goldsboro Wayne Transportation $258,129, and Wish $10,000, which totals $448,129 that is recommended for our agent request. No action is necessary tonight. Council has a budget work session scheduled tomorrow, and any recommendation to our recommended budget will be made at that time, and a recommendation for adoption will be brought to council at the June 4th meeting. Any questions?
Thank you, Kay. With that, this is a public hearing to discuss our recommended 2018-19 operating budget. Would anybody from the audience like to speak? Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. Mary Ann Dudley, Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County, Wayne and Johnston County. I have brought with me tonight some future leaders of this town, and I would really like for them to give you a few words of wisdom. But before they do, I can only say thank you for the potential inclusion in this year's budget.
Thank you, ma'am.
And number two, for any and everything that you do to help the Boys and Girls Clubs, when sometimes we just need an in-kind service, and you guys are at our door helping us out. And we do thank you very much in multiple levels. And I'm just gonna let them introduce themselves to you. Earl?
Speaking to Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Speak up so they can hear you. My name is Earl McLean, and I attend Carver High School. I have been at the Boys and Girls Club for over 2 years now. The things I like at the Boys and Girls Club is that first we're allowed to play, and then next we're able to do our homework. And one thing I really love about the Boys Club is that when I'm struggling with something, I know I can go to a staff and get more help with it. And right now, my grades are A's and B's.
Awesome.
And in future reference, I plan on going to college and make a football career.
Good job, young man. Good job.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jimmy LaJordan, and I am in the 6th grade. I go to Greenwood Middle School. I've been going to the Boys and Girls Club since July of last year. All the staff are really nice, and I like how I get to talk to them about how my day was. The staff really push you into doing your work, even if you don't want to. They will talk to you and tell you why you should do it. When I am in the gym with Miss Hyana and Mr. Vic, they will play with me. This summer at the Boys and Girls Club, I plan on meeting new friends. I am glad to be coming to the Boys and Girls Club. I am thankful for all the support to the Boys and Girls Club.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mark Kinsey. I'm a student from Goldsboro High School. I've been going to the Boys and Girls Club for almost 5 years now. Some of the things I like about the Boys and Girls Club is they have different activities, different interactive groups that they have, where we go out and just talk in the public as we're doing today. I've been here before, thanks to the Boys and Girls Club. That was my first time ever being here, and I like how it made an impact on my life. It changed me. It made me understand that it's time to play and it's time to be serious. That they help me prepare. They help me prepare for upcoming in life. I'm a junior, senior next year. Before I didn't know what I wanted to do, until I started coming to the Boys and Girls Club, and they just had different influence. They had different people come to talk to us, and different influence led me to choose to go into the military, Navy, and it's a whole lot of different stuff there. I like how they give this all of us time to work and get done what we need to do before we go and play. We got different opportunities for every member to just get out and have fun, but do good for themselves and get themselves a name. I hope that when I leave the Boys and Girls Club, that my legacy be just to stand out with the crowd, make friends.
Good deal.
Best you can do.
Good job. Good deal. Thank you.
So we just wanted to point out that we're a little bit more than just after-school care for the youth. We have programs that focus on academic support and development, like you heard from these guys, character leadership and healthy lifestyles. And you can see from our impact report some of the successes that we've had. 92% of our club members are promoted to the next grade level on time, and 100% of our club members graduate on time. So these types that we served over 68,000 healthy dinners and snacks last year, and I think a lot of people just don't know exactly what we do at Boys and Girls Club. So pretty relevant work. We're thankful for the support the community has given us, and there's still a great need for continued support for the future so we can keep supporting the kids. Now we're up to 853 youth that we serve, so that's quite a big number. And we appreciate your consideration.
And this is Jacqueline Cannon, our development director, who is actually putting us back on the map, hopefully. And you don't know us, we have a Facebook page and it's very active. So please like that. And we have a new website due to her, and great information, and invite you to be a part of it. Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne, Johnston counties.
Thank you. We appreciate what y'all do. We know y'all do a lot.
Good job. I went to the boys club this time, not the Boys and Girls Club. I learned how to do carpentry. I learned so many things, and you guys spoke so well. Keep up the good work.
All right, would anybody else like to speak about the budget? Yes, ma'am, come on up.
Mr. Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Kuykendall, and I'm the director of the Wayne County Museum. And I'm here to talk about the $5,000 proposed budget cut to the Wayne County Historical Association. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, but for us, our budget is so very small that $5,000 is fully 1/3 of the funding budget that we get from the city. And this cut would have a huge negative impact on our ability to maintain the progress and the really exciting momentum that we've seen at the museum in the last 6 months. I don't know if you recall, but I was here in February, and I spoke to you guys, introducing myself as the new director, and sort of shared my goals of improving the community outreach and the diversity of exhibits and programming at the museum, and the strategy is working. With our 2-month Black History exhibit and our current Women's History exhibit, our visitors are up 200% over the last 2 years combined. So the strategy is working. We've become a destination, and we're now more relevant to the community that we serve. We've reached out to the schools, and we've seen more tour groups, school groups, and kids in the museum than ever before. And for the schools that don't have field trips in their budget, we're working on a traveling trunks project that will be trunks that will take museum exhibits to the schools, to the classrooms. We're working with other cultural institutions and community groups and some really exciting collaboration projects. We're working with the library, the Paramount Theater, with the Arts Council. We're planning our first Jazz on John concert in our ballroom, and our volunteers and visitors have been helping us with a food drive that's helping to fill the blessing boxes in our neighborhoods 2 or 3 times a month. So with our massive increase in visitors, our one small parking lot is really inadequate, and we've been fundraising to finish that and to create landscaping and green space so that we have places that all these school groups that are coming can eat their lunch and kind of hang out, work off a little energy before they come in and tour the museum. And with this cut, it's really going to be hard for us to move forward on this critical parking lot if we're to continue to grow. So we just wanted to come and sort of ask you to reconsider this proposed cut that's happening. It's happening now just when we really most need the money to further our mission and to continue our recent success in improving our community relevance and outreach. So thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for
you, ma'am.
letting me talk.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Emily Wheel, Mayor,
Good
City
evening.
Council, and Mr. Stevens. I just want to echo what Jennifer said and say that truly there's an excitement at the museum, and I hope all of you will come in and look and see what's new there, because there's something new almost every day. There are new exhibits on not only what you talked about, but we have costumes and artifacts from all the different wars that have been fought since our country was formed. And we're really trying to develop things. So I just wanted to echo and say, please consider helping us more rather than less. The momentum's there. We want to have you involved. We want the whole community involved. And we do thank you for all you've done in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Stevens, and Honorable City Council. I'm Wendy Snow Walker, Executive Director of the Arts Council of Wayne County. On behalf of myself, my staff, and the Board of Directors, we thank you for your generous support of the Arts Council year after year. We understand that funds are always tight and that there are always many more requests than dollars available to provide necessary services to our community. We're very appreciative of the grants we have received in the past, as well as the funds being considered for this upcoming fiscal year. In addition to financial contributions from the city, we value our community partners at the BGDC, Goldsboro Parks and Rec, and the Tourism Office. Those partnerships with a capital ART help us ensure that our collaborative public art projects and community events are colorful, engaging, successful, and most importantly, accessible to all. I assure you that every dollar granted to us and every partnership established will enable the Arts Council to continue serving our community well by helping our organization provide artistic programs, creative events, cultural festivals, educational experiences, and powerful performances for all area residents. Many of our programs are offered free of charge. I've given you a list of many of them, so the arts can be accessible to all. Whether it's a free jazz concert, a free art exhibit, or tickets for underserved students to attend a play at the Paramount, funded by our grassroots program, we provide a myriad of opportunities for residents seeking high-quality creative experiences. The vibrant arts culture we have created is truly helping to change the energy of downtown. We recently partnered with Goldsboro High School and featured their photojournalism class in our T11 gallery. A post-show survey revealed that 90% of those students had never visited an art gallery before that night, and 55% stated that they would be likely to return for another event. When asked about her favorite part of the evening, one student said, "It was fun watching the expressions on people's faces as they came in and viewed our pictures, and to see how shocked they were to find out we were only high school students." The pride was evident in the faces of the students seeing their work come to life and observing family members as they entered the gallery and caught the first glimpse of the students' spectacular photos. Studies show that students engaged in arts learning have higher GPAs, higher standardized test scores, as well as lower dropout rates. Furthermore, these benefits are reaped by students regardless of socioeconomic status. There is no doubt that the arts affect positive change in our students. As for our adult citizens, whether you are working on the assembly line in the pickle factory or on the flight line at Seymour Johnson, the arts have always had a positive influence on your world. They're fundamental to our humanity. The arts inspire us and help us express our values, build bridges between cultures. Generally, the arts are a fundamental component of a healthy community, strengthening it socially, educationally, and economically. Specifically for our airmen and their families, surveys show that more than 40 options for integrated resilience training and PTSD support, military personnel consistently select art therapy in the top 5, leading to a healthier home life, more peaceful conflict resolutions, and smoother transitions back into civilian life. Our Vet Stories project is a cross-curricular, multi-generational collaboration between artists, writers, veterans, and students. Volunteers from the Wayne School of Engineering are working with our professional writers to complete the original script and incorporate vet stories into our summer camp programs at the Arts Council and at the Parks and Rec Department. One of the art classes at Goldsboro High School created a patriotic-themed artwork honoring veterans. Their work will also become part of the project's exhibit. Through this project, the arts can help us to better understand the experiences of our service members. And armed with this new information, the arts can change everyone's perspective. The arts are one facet of our daily lives that persist even in the most difficult social and economic times. And the arts help to improve individual well-being. According to surveys completed by Americans for the Arts, 73% of Americans say that the arts are a positive experience in a troubled world. The arts can change your attitude. The arts unify communities regardless of age, race, and ethnicity by helping us better understand the perspectives and cultures of individuals and social groups. And the arts are a driving force in our economy. Data shows that attendees at arts events will spend $31.47 per person per event over and above the cost of admission to an arts event. Those are real dollars in the pockets of our local businesses. Simply stated, the arts drive tourism and local revenue to local businesses. The arts can change the bottom line. It is for these reasons I stand before you tonight and ask one simple question. Can you spare a dollar to make change? There are over 35,000 residents in the city of Goldsboro. Last year, your grant to us equaled 84 cents per person. With this year's proposed allocation of $25,000, the amount drops to 70 cents per person. In and of itself, that's not a detrimental decrease, but if the trend continues, the results could be drastic. I implore you as a council to keep the best interest of your citizens in mind as you contemplate this year's allocation. Isn't an industry that ties together all other businesses, nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, and cultural differences worth a few more pennies to affect real change? Please consider keeping this year's allocation at $30,000, which is only 84 cents per person. And while I'm at it, I might as well add that looking ahead to fiscal year 2019-20, please consider increasing that grant to $1 per person, because $1 can leverage real change throughout our community. Again, we thank you for your support, and we look forward to a partnership that continues to grow in creative collaboration. Thank you for your time and consideration, and as always, have a creative day.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else like to speak on the budget? Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you guys doing today?
Evening.
As far as the budget, I just want to put a thought out there. As a city, we're all a family. When my dad lost his job, we all had to sacrifice something for him to get back to where he needed to be so we could have everything we needed. Right now, our city is really suffering with poverty. The arts are beautiful. We need them. The museum is beautiful. We need them. But we also need a lot of other things that are more important right now. The budget has been the same for years. The Arts Council's been getting the same amount, museum the same amount. I understand momentum is coming, but we all have to sacrifice it. So to all the groups in Wayne County, I think we need to focus on, I was at the budget meeting, the Boys and Girls Club were building broken places, and the Crisis Center had no money, none. And nobody even thought about giving them any money until Councilman Foster and Councilman Williams brought them up. And when you look at those three places, they help some of the lowest levels of our city. And they would have gotten no funding if they hadn't have brought it up. It would have all went to the arts and the museum and everything else. So I'm just asking, as a city, if we're really gonna focus on unity, we all need to be able to sacrifice a little something for the other guys, so we can all get to that level, then we can all enjoy the same wealth in that kind of manner, because those children from the Boys and Girls Club, priceless. They're priceless. Their lives are priceless. How can you put a price on that? And they only got $5,000 and they serve how many children in this community? I think that's an atrocity, honestly. The rebuilding broken places, there's not even another place on that side of town for those children to go to, and they're not even gonna have a summer program this year. And that's big, because a lot of children attend that program. A lot of children are not gonna have anywhere to go at all. The Crisis Center, a lot of people who wouldn't eat, be able to shower, is big. So I understand, but please, please, please consider and think, because sometimes we have some subconscious biases that cause us not to recognize how important some other things are. So as a family, you know, when somebody's down, we gotta sacrifice to get back up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm Taylor. I haven't been down here for a while, but I did get a chance to read the budget maybe a few days ago, and some of the things were interesting as I look over. In fact, I actually stopped at the mission and the vision statement. I was actually on there because I actually didn't have to go past it because I might have had less time to articulate those thoughts. But we can start with the safety and security of the city, right? Because I seen there's a bunch of money that was put into let's just say law enforcement, into some of the vehicles. Some of the operating systems that they may use to, and I quote, reduce violent crime, which is a good thing, of course, right? But I've also noticed there wasn't anything in the budget that talked about events similar to 24 hours of violence. I know y'all might have talked about
24 hours apiece.
24 hours apiece, I'm sorry, 24 hours apiece. I know y'all talked about that last season, and it must not have been approved or anything in that particular direction, but if you can allocate money towards safety and I quote security of the people, then you, more than likely you have to come out with a strategy or develop ways to interact with some of the younger people in the community. I would think so at the least. Another thing that I looked at as I was going over the quality of life, and that was again in the mission and the vision statement. I think it was signed by you. I can't say that you wrote it though. As I drove around Goldsboro, I noticed one thing, and y'all might have already talked about it, and it was the bus stops, even for the like high school kids and the junior high kids. There's no shelter out there. You know, I can say it's more than likely demoralizing having to go to school with wet clothes because it's been raining hard. I think last week it was raining pretty tough, unless I got my weeks mixed up. And people had to stand out on the bus stop there as well. And it's pretty terrible for that not to have been proposed in this particular area right here. And further reading in that budget, I did see that there was no funding for rebuilding broken places. And I'm just going to use them as an example because of the type of things that they do as far as financial literacy or the senior home that they have right there, or the after-school program. I don't see how you wouldn't want to fund something like that, or would be no funding for an organization like that when you get 61 million. Maybe I could have the numbers mixed up in my head. I don't think they're asking for too much, but I could be wrong. And just correct me if I am wrong, of course. There's another thing that I was looking at. I didn't see any money allocated towards any economic plan to get jobs down here in Goldsboro, businesses down here in Goldsboro that can hire people with quality jobs. Again, we might have talked about this before. I mean, you got good jobs here in Goldsboro, right? I mean, they can work at a restaurant or a hotel or something to that effect. Or maybe you can hire people in the city to pick up trash, because you did talk about litter pickup. But I didn't see any sustainable jobs, right? For maybe, let's say, the number of kids that the individual gonna have. So a person can live a quality lifestyle, which is also in the mission statement. Maybe you wrote it, I'm not sure. But to have all those things written in your beautiful mission statement, quality of life, safety and security, but to have no money allocated in those particular areas, I would have to say maybe you didn't think about it, or it's absolutely appalling. I'm not quite sure which one it is. You'll have to work that out for me, because I'm a small town guy. I read 1 or 2 books a day. But either case, maybe you can take the time out in the budget, like Ms. Ravonda Jacobs said, to help out people of lower economic demographics, of course, by trying events like 24 hours apiece, or lobbying or soliciting businesses to bring jobs down here to Goldsboro, or maybe taking the time out to build shelters for high school kids or elementary school kids when they have to catch the bus. But it's just a thought. Again, maybe you should consider it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to all of you. I'm Brownie Dawes, and I work with our seniors at Wages. And on behalf of our seniors, I just want to thank you all so much for your continued support for our Meals on Wheels program. At the core of our Meals on Wheels program is the nutritious meal, companionship, and a check on our seniors' well-being and health. We have lots of seniors in Goldsboro that are trying to remain in their own home and living a long time, but are not always so healthy, and they need some help in order to do that. We can provide a senior with Meals on Wheels for a whole year for roughly the cost of 1 day in the hospital, or about 10 days in the nursing home. So it is a benefit to all of us. It saves lots of dollars in tax dollars and Medicaid and Medicare. So our seniors, we've been talking about poverty. Some of the people, 85 of our seniors that we're currently serving on Meals on Wheels are at or below the poverty line. And we have 70% of our seniors are over the age of 75. We're serving 160 over the age of 85 every day and trying to keep them in their home. So we appreciate your support. We appreciate the wonderful volunteer support. Mr. Aycock and Mr. Broadway were in there last week volunteering and delivering meals, and they know firsthand. And so just on behalf of our seniors and Wages, we thank you so much for supporting us.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else like to speak on the budget? Anybody else? Mark?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
Good, I hope you are.
I am doing well. That's great. I'm gonna knock out 2 things while I'm up here. Mayor, City Council, and City Manager. As far as the budget is concerned, you just heard from the Boys and Girls Club. We've heard from numerous agencies and things that are definitely needed. Heard from the community members. Well, I'm here on behalf of the teachers of Wayne County Public Schools. Last Wednesday, we marched. There were about 300 teachers that went down to the rally, and it's not about necessarily about pay, but that is a big portion of it. But the other thing is about student resources and other things. I know that the county commissioners have gone out to the schools and saw Goldsboro High School and other schools, just kind of the decay and the things that haven't been taking place. So one of the things that I would like to see included, along with the teachers that are in Wayne County, I know for years, I had a meeting last week with Raymond Smith and Ms. Patricia Burton, and one of the things that he so eloquently put, for years, the city council, and not this current city council, but other city council, have said that they couldn't do anything, couldn't put any money towards the schools, and couldn't put any supplements. That was incorrect. And so what I'm here to request is whatever the county commissioners are putting toward supplements for the teachers, I'm here to request that you guys put in your budget to match that. We are trying to recruit and retain teachers here in Wayne County. And if you would talk to teachers, I have teachers in the audience tonight, there are a lot of teachers that are impoverished. There are a lot of teachers that are on food stamps. There are a lot of teachers that are 2 and 3 jobs. So I'm asking that when you sit down tomorrow, that you would at least begin to put the processes in place so that you can help the Board of Education, because we were told that the Board of Education can't generate their own income. The only generating board is the City Council and the County Commissioners. And the County Commissioners, we know that, if you don't know, the education system is primarily funded by the County Commissioners and also the state legislature. Well, the NCAE, they're marching up there in Raleigh, but this is an opportunity while you guys are sitting talking about your budget, and I know that on the 5th of June, the county commissioners are going to be talking about their budget as well. So I'm requesting that whatever the county commissioner or the county commissioner is doing as far as supplementing, that you guys take a look at and put that on the line item as well, because we're all in this together. So I'm asking for that. The second thing that I'm asking, I pass this around to you. It's called the Safe Summer Youth Extravaganza 2018. And what it is a collaborative guide trying to put into place so that everybody can take a look at all of the great things that we have out here in the city for young people to do. Let me throw some numbers at you. Wayne County has 19,200 children that will be let out onto the county streets effective starting May 25th with the graduation of Goldsboro High School and other schools, and then with the rest of the school getting out on the 8th. So that's 18 to 19,000 kids coming out trying to figure out what it is to do. One of the things that I know I've talked to you guys numerous times about is trying to do something to curb the violence. The last 2 years, we had a lot of gun violence out there in the streets, and we really didn't have a lot of things for our kids to do. But this year, we do. And I want to thank the council, I want to thank the city manager, I want to thank Shacole and other organizations out there. They're doing a lot of things. Well, all I'm trying to do is trying to consolidate it and make it kind of easy for parents and students to kind of follow. So with the budget for next year, I'm asking that you guys put kind of a line item in there so that we could pay for production of something like this year. I've already talked with Scott Stevens and Shacole. And this year, we're going to try to put this in the water bills maybe and try to produce some of these things so that we can get it out. We got started a little late, so I'm asking that you guys put that into play. And then in addition to that, talking with Scott and Shacole, maybe looking at doing some lock-ins, maybe a city council basketball tournament. And then one of the things that Scott brought up, which was really good, we really want to do something to target those 18 to 24-year-olds. Those are the ones that are out there kind of committing those crimes and things. We target our little kids in middle school and high schools, but he brought up a good point, the 18 to 24-year-olds, what do we do for them? Maybe a midnight basketball or maybe something like that. So I don't know how much. All I'm saying is to kind of put something toward it so that next year we can look at it, and then I'm requesting that this year if we could get this publicized and put somewhere. So those are the things that I'm looking for present and also for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, Mark, quick question. The money allocated for the teachers, you want that money to go to the inner city schools, correct, or to the whole entire county schools? From
right
us?
now, I'm just fighting for the inner city schools.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak about the budget? Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we're gonna close this public hearing for the budget. And I would just like to make one comment as we move forward to the next item, and that is that there are a lot of really good, you see tonight, really good groups doing a lot of really good work in the city. A lot of nonprofits, you're doing awesome work for our citizens, especially our citizens in need. That's what makes a community, is people like you making the community and making things happen. And so on behalf of the council, I just want to thank each and every one of you. Funding or no funding, you always seem to make things happen, and that's what makes our community better. So I do want to thank each and every one of you for what you mean to the community and what you do for the community, because I know the importance of it, and I know that's what makes the community great, is its people, and they step up when we need them. So I do want to just thank you on behalf of the council. So next we're going to move to the public hearing for the revision of Chapter 151 flood damage.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. This is the public hearing for the revision of Chapter 151 Flood Damage Prevention Ordinance. The purpose of the Flood Prevention Ordinance is to promote the public health, safety, and general welfare, and to minimize public and private losses due to flood conditions in specific areas. On December 20th, 2017, the city was notified by FEMA and the National Flood Insurance Program that the flood damage prevention ordinance would need to be revised. They also had revised maps that go along with this. The city must adopt the the revised flood damage prevention ordinance and the maps that have been approved by FEMA's regional staff by June 20th to avoid suspension from the National Flood Insurance Program. We've provided they're highlighted in the attached ordinance you have with your packet, a summary of the modifications and additions to the state's model ordinance that are included in your packet. I also wanted to make 4 other points. This is basically the same ordinance that was adopted back in July 2000 with some minor additions and definitions and modifications to some other sections. I've only had one citizen come in to look, and it was not the 2 citizens that spoke at the Wayne County public hearing. And it turns out that he was almost removed from the flood zone. The third thing is I didn't mention this in our previous discussions on this ordinance, but we did have one business here in Goldsboro prior to Matthew that was expanding, and they had to meet 2-foot freeboard, and they fought us tooth and nail. I'm not going to name them, but they fought us tooth and nail. After Hurricane Matthew hit, they came in, they brought donuts to all 3 of our departments on the first floor and thanked us for having the 2-foot freeboard. The last thing I wanted to address is the News Argus article that was written last Friday. There were two of our citizens that spoke at their public hearing. The gentleman that said he couldn't put a pole barn on his property. Well, if you look at Arrington Bridge Road, it's in the floodway. So anywhere in the whole nation that you put something in the floodway, the NFIP requires you to have a engineering and analysis done. So, and then the other one was on Claridge Nursery Road. It was a church. I remember speaking with a lady. They were trying to do an addition or something to their church, which required them the addition was a substantial improvement. It was 50% or more of the market value of the structures. So our recommendation is at the conclusion of the public hearing, it is recommended the City Council adopt the attached ordinance repealing Chapter 151 entitled Flood Damage Prevention and establishing a revised Chapter 151 entitled Flood Damage Prevention. Thank you.
Any questions for Marty? If not, this is a public hearing for the revision of Chapter 151 flood damage. Would anyone like to speak? Anyone like to speak? Seeing none, we will close this public hearing, and council, you have a recommendation in front of you.
recommend we adopt it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed likewise? Motion carries. All right. So next we have a public comment period. If there's anybody in the audience left that would like to speak, you have up to 3 minutes to come speak. So now would be a time if anybody in the audience would like to speak. Yes, sir. Well, yes, ma'am, then.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Again, my name is Vala Rouse Figueroa. I just wanted to make a brief comment. For the last 14 days, give or take, one of my very dear friends who I've known for 14 years, I've been going back and forth to Chapel Hill, and on yesterday, he was memorialized. I'm talking about Judge Les Turner. We became very close friends over the last 14 years. I wanted to say on behalf of the family and myself that we thank those that have reached out from the city during this time. And also, I personally want to say he was a man that was a very strong advocate for Garnet Lighting Program, which I've been for 14 years. Besides that, he was a man that truly loved the law and respected the law. And I would like to challenge the council members, the city staff, the citizens of Goldsboro to start following and obeying and being within the law. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
First, allow me to say thank you to the Goldsboro City Council for giving me this opportunity to address you and your audience this evening. My name is Bill Sutton, and I am the founder of a nonprofit organization called Keys to Healing. I understand that I only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to read from a brief prepared statement. Keys to Healing is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to promote positive resolution that we call keys to the negative effects from ingrained and deep-rooted ethnic and gender biases. Our vision is to see a decrease in today's epidemic of antisocial behaviors, senseless acts of violence, hateful, divisive ideologies, and rhetoric, thereby seeing more unity, productivity, and more peace in our community. Keys to Healing is now promoting the Hug and Love Key, and we now have almost 100 families from Wayne County pledged to this key. The purpose of the Hug and Love Key is to help strengthen and secure the bond between parents and or primary caregivers of children, especially between the biological mother and child, so that these children will grow up to be less likely controlled by violence or other antisocial tendencies. Research and studies support the idea that the stronger the bond is between his or her parents or caregivers, particularly the mother, the more unlikely that child will adopt negative behavior patterns. My plan is to meet with the individual members of this council and other business and community leaders seeking support, also input on this new concept. Let me just say, I have always had a genuine affection for the city of Goldsboro, though I was born in Wilson. It was my good feelings about this city and a desire to be a part of the solution that fueled my passion in the 90s to begin publishing Up Magazine right here in Goldsboro. That same passion and desire helped create the Hug and Love Key to address some critical needs in this community that could have positive ramifications throughout other communities. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming back home.
Yes, sir.
That's a good thing.
Yes, sir. Actually, when I was here doing Up Magazine, I was just thinking about that. The Honorable Mayor Plump was in that spot.
Oh, my.
So you know how long.
That was a few years back, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Would anybody else like to speak? All right. Good evening, sir. Come on. Good evening.
Hello, how are y'all doing today?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening, buddy.
Member of the board. My name is Deshaun Davis,
And I'm Naughty Council.
and we are the founders of the Future Leaders of Wayne County and also seniors at Eastern High School.
Future leaders.
We started this group because we feel as though the youth in our community aren't praised enough for their achievements. We are surrounded by more negativity than positivity, and we would like to show kids that there is more to life than what's going on in the streets. Just showing that you care can make a difference in so many people's lives.
We come before you today to ask for the permission of one of your properties and also your support. We would like to have a graduation kickback to celebrate the achievements of the countless seniors who will be graduating in Wayne County this season.
We plan on hosting other events in our future years, such as senior cookouts or middle school appreciation night, because we want our middle schoolers to understand that although you are not a graduating senior, your achievements are also worth acknowledging. And we also want to let them know that the hard work and dedication is worthwhile.
We also know that the younger the child, the more easily influenced they are. So we would love to do much more in the community, such as community field days and community workshops where kids can come and get help with whether schoolwork, homework, anything that they need.
We would love to have this graduation dance start on an ongoing fight to save our community and youth from our negative counterparts. The purpose of this dance is to unite our community and hopefully show the underclassmen that this and other events are things that they can actually participate in.
We also have sponsors who have dedicated time and hard work to help in this community, such as Ms. Delavisha Harris-Faison and Mr. Colbrook, who is up here supporting us today. These two amazing people create two of the many community leaders that would love to support our cause.
We would love to have the dance on June 7th at the Goldsboro Event Center.
We have brought today a few documents like the proposed flyer for the event, here. Our volunteer sign-up sheets, and the sign-up that all seniors will fill out to be able to attend the event.
Just to show you that we are working and we're trying to complete this cause in any way possible, just to show you that we are serious about what we're trying to do.
For our statistics, we do plan on having 300 to 350 people attend the event. The price will be $875 for 5 hours. We did look at other places, like as in the terrace room, but we know there might be an issue with parking, and other places like the Herman Park Center, who is actually booked, and the Maxwell Center, who we understand is a county building. We as teenagers know how important it is to unite the community, especially our youth. We know that kids really have nothing to do, which is really where the problem lies, and it opens up space for negative influences.
We are asking you today to please donate the event center to us for this cause, and also to ensure a safe environment. We would like to ask for police officers to donate their time as well.
Good job. All right, good job.
Good job.
So we will take this and go over with the manager, the staff on it, and we'll come back to you in like the next few days. Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay, and we got good information?
Yes.
Contact? I got it. Okay.
Have you guys followed up to see if that data is available?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay.
We have called numerous times, actually. There are numerous times where we've called and they have not answered, but we continue to be persistent in our asking because we do want you to know that we are very serious about what we're trying to do, and to show you that we're being productive. We are,
But even if you get the event center for nothing, let's just say you get it for free, what you're asking for, what are we going to do for the music and the food? We're going to do other things too, right?
Yes, we have already got that.
Because I don't see them wanting to go out there and just look at each other.
Oh, that's okay.
There's gonna be a lot going on. We will have like door prizes, things that the seniors can actually enjoy and make it worth their while. We're talking about a DJ and sponsoring like pizza and stuff, so they won't have to worry about going home and not eating, because we do know that our community is in a poverty state. So we want this to not only be a celebration for our graduates, but we want it to be an opportunity for everyone in our community to unify and actually understand that we are together in this fight.
Okay.
Now, is this going to be for seniors?
It's going to be for seniors, but we also have the option for you to bring a +1 as like your junior or some sort of underclassman, just so they will be able to experience it, and so they'll be able to have that impact next year.
I just want to make sure everybody can fit. You know, is it going to be just East Wayne? Is it going to be all of the high schools in the community? Because you want to make sure people can fit there, you know.
Yes, sir. We do plan on having all the high schools in the community, but being this is the first year that we're trying to actually do something, we don't expect that many people to show up. But we do expect a pretty big turnout that is able to fit in that building.
How many do we hold at the event center?
That many, you go for about 500.
Oh, okay. So you still have room even if you did go over your expected 350.
Is there a way that you're going to control who comes, RSVP or something, so you know who's there?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We have actually created the volunteer sign-up, not the volunteer sign-up sheet, the graduation sign-up sheet, where the students can click a link, and it will have the name, where they go to school, and just different information up there. If they're going to bring undergraduate graduation, that will all be sent to a sheet that'll close on May 4th. I mean, not May 4th, June 4th.
Right.
And we will have volunteers at the door who are going to be able to check IDs and make sure that whoever signed up is actually who's coming.
Okay. Good job. Good job. Well, good presentation.
Thank you.
I'd like to just say a couple things about these two individuals. I worked with them at Eastern Wayne High School. I taught him 6th grade, and just tell them where you guys are going to school at and things like that.
I am not a council, and I am going to attend UNC Charlotte to major in pre-biology. I've been wanting to cure cancer since I was in elementary school. There was a case where I had a teacher who was suffering with breast cancer, and when she lost her fight, that gave me my fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that made me want to push really hard. So not only am I trying to push for this cause, but I'm also pushing an inner cause for myself as well. If this will happen, this will give me my inner confidence to actually push my cause.
Okay, great.
And I will be attending the University of North Carolina, Wilmington for marine biology. I basically want to do that since middle school because as like growing up in the inner city, you know, we didn't really have field trips. So I had one in 5th grade at the aquarium, and ever since then, talking to the scientists there and just getting to know everything, I've just been fascinated. So I'm glad I'm actually able to pursue my dream.
Good. Great.
Well, we're very proud of both y'all. Y'all did a great presentation. You keep pushing. Okay. Anybody else from public hearing?
I just want to, first of all, my daughter came last time and spoke, and a lot happened after that. She was very upset, and she wrote a letter, and it got printed in the paper, and a whole lot of stuff happened. But as a parent, I wanted to just come and not really apologize, but let everyone know in context, she is 15, and she was angry. And then it kind of goes back to earlier in the meeting, kind of what Councilman Foster was talking about knowing things. People have an expectation of their leaders. And when they have an expectation, they do get very upset sometimes when they don't live up to those expectations. So take it as a grain of salt and just bring it together and understand that she's young and she's tired. You know, she's 15 and she sees a lot of things in her community. And one of the main things that we have to focus on, we do a lot for our youth, but like that 18 to 24 group, our adults have to be good role models. This is where it goes back to the husband love key Mr. Bill was just talking about. If parents were actually being the parents that they were supposed to be, and adults were acting as adults, you wouldn't have a lot of the frustration from the youth. You wouldn't have a lot of the frustration from the young people in the community. So I think we have to understand that when you have a leadership role, to whom much is given, much is due. And people do expect a lot of you. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not on the city council, but you know, I've read the whole ordinance, like I've looked them up, I read them. Almost every time I leave a meeting, I do. And it's only because, not even being funny, as a young black woman, I can't make mistakes. Like in our society, because of the subconscious biases, I can't make mistakes. I've always been taught, you better know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because you make one little mistake and they will take that and kill you with it. So in our community, we do expect you guys to kind of know. And know then, because due process is important. I've been arrested a few times, and when the officer didn't know the law, I had to go to jail, pay bond, get out, get a lawyer before he figured out he was wrong. Was that fair to me though? And that happens a lot of times in our government. So we're not blaming any one person because we've all had subconscious biases that have been taught to us. All we're saying is maybe we need to work on it a little bit so that our children can see role models that they will want to be, and then you wouldn't have some of the actions, because they act like we do a lot of times. So forgive my daughter, know that she was all of the 15-year-old anger, but do take her words. I think they made sense as well. So love you all. Thank you.
All right, anybody else want to speak? Are you coming to speak?
Yes, sir.
I was hoping you were leaving, but you come on and speak. I'm just giving you a hard time. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Mayor, Council, I just wanted to stand for the paintball community. My name is Sherrod Hike, and I'm probably the oldest individual that played paintball with the gentleman. First of all, I want to apologize as a whole from the paintball community stuff. There are some bad apples that do spoil the bunch, but in what we're trying to do as a whole, we thank you, Mayor, for what you stepped out on the limb and done for us. Council that Backton been doing so. We just want to say thank you to you guys, and apologize to the community. We know that there have been some individuals that did damage to property, have harmed other individuals, but I want you guys to see that it's not us, the group as a whole. There are some individuals that we're trying to hone in and take that particular situation from the streets and bring it to the designated property that we have. So again, I just want to say thank you guys. The paintball community thanks you. We're trying to do better. There's different things that we're sitting down and discuss about doing in the community also. But again, we apologize for the things that some other individuals have done to the community.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
How are you, sir?
All right, Tosh Paulette. I just have a question in reference to the panhandlers. And is there an ordinance in place? I mean, I know we talk about litter constantly, but when you come off of every exit in Goldsboro, I'm noticing an influx of this problem across the city. Even from going to the grocery stores, the strip mall in front of Walmart. As a community, as far as economic growth, I think that's prohibiting that, from growing. I know there's an opioid crisis, and I see a lot of these disheveled individuals that are saying they're homeless, but then they're going to the ABC store adjacent to Ollie's, as soon as they're in front of Bojangles. So I didn't know if there was any way that they could kind of implement as a city something to deter them from hanging out in front of, there's a guy in front of the health department. When I walk my dog, he's sitting on the corner and he's literally telling people to roll their windows down. Sure. And I just see it as an eyesore to the community. I know a lot of people are in need, but in other cities, you don't see that as much as you're starting to see an insurgence in this area. And I just wanted to know if there's anything as a council or police patrol or something that could kind of mitigate that problem that we're starting to see.
Well, I'm gonna tell you my personal opinion. I don't even think some of them are in need. I think it's their job, it's their way of life. I mean, I really believe that's what they do. But I'll let the manager speak as to the law, because the law is not on our side. So
yes, sir.
What we continue to be told, and again, I will tell you, most downtowns or cities that I visit, they have a panhandling problem. There are people across, when I'm in Cary and Raleigh, there are people at the exits there. If our community didn't have the heart they have and give money, they would not stay. But when we've inquired about how do we permit it, because some cities have tried to permit it or figure out how to allow it. If it's unsafe or aggressive, we will remove them. Okay. But as we understand, what we've continually be told is I have the right as a citizen to ask you as a citizen for help. Okay. And so taking away that person's right, as long as they're not being unsafe or being threatening to you, makes it hard for the local government to legislate or restrict. Okay. Again, some have permitted it where they do have to come get a permit, but the permit only verifies that there's somebody that they're going to have permission to go out and ask. We really don't have the ability to say what they can or cannot do with that money that people donate to them. Okay. So I think I know I share the sentiment. I'd like them not to be there. As we have been told, it's hard to legislate them away. Just one point, when I was heading down Berkeley today, there was one standing in the median there at Walmart
I mean, not Walmart, but the Target, you know.
Right.
And he was getting people from both sides, and a policeman actually drove up onto the area he was in and told him he was obstructing traffic and he had to leave.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else from the audience like to speak? Okay, we're going to close the public comment period time, and we're going to move to the consent agenda.
Mayor and Council, your consent agenda consists of items J through M. Again, you had discussed those earlier, items J through M.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, J through F.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Allen?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Ham?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Broadway? Councilmember Foster?
Yes.
Councilmember Aycock?
Yes.
All right, the consent agenda is passed. We have items requiring individual action. We have none. City manager report.
Mayor and Council, just a couple of items. I do want to just welcome the Dillard alumni. I know they'll have a busy weekend. Hope the weather plays in their favor. We'll see how that unfolds. Do want to mention summer camps. It is time for registering. If you haven't done that within our Parks and Recreation system, we do have a significant amount of camps, from those that are weekly to those that just last a week, or that really those that weekly that run all summer. Skylar at Parks and Rec, 919-739-7480, 739-7480. And again, Skylar there at Herman Park Center would be happy to talk with you about camps, but there's a lot of offerings there, as well as information being on our website. And then, Mayor, just a reminder to you at the end, rather than adjourning, to recess the meeting until tomorrow morning at 9.
Okay. All right, that's it?
Yes, sir.
I've got 3 resolutions that I'm going to read real quick. Resolution expressing appreciation for services rendered by Leroy Randolph as an employee of the City of Goldsboro for more than 29 years. Whereas Leroy Randolph retires on June 1, 2018 as a heavy equipment operator with the Public Works Department of the City of Goldsboro with more than 29 years of service. Leroy began his career on October 16, 1989 as a laborer 2 with the Public Works Department. On August 12, 1992, Leroy was promoted to equipment operator 2 with the Public Works Department. On December 27, 2002, Leroy was promoted heavy equipment operator in the Public Works Department, where he has served until his retirement. Leroy has proven himself to be a dedicated, efficient public servant who has gained the admiration and respect of his fellow workers and the citizens of the City of Goldsboro. Therefore, as Mayor and the City of Goldsboro are desirous on behalf of themselves, city employees, and the citizens of the City of Goldsboro of expressing to Leroy their deep appreciation and gratitude for the service rendered by him to the city over these years. Therefore, be resolved by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Goldsboro, number 1, that we express our deep appreciation and gratitude for dedicated service rendered during Leroy's tenure with the City of Goldsboro. We offer Leroy our best wishes for success, happiness, prosperity, and good health in his future endeavors. This resolution shall be incorporated in official minutes of the City of Goldsboro and shall be in full force effect this, the 21st day of May, 2018. I'll offer this for adoption.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, resolution 2018-26, expression of appreciation for service rendered by Thomas Frucron as an employee of the City of Goldsboro for more than 28 years. Thomas retires on June 1, 2018 as a fire captain with the Goldsboro Fire Department of the City of Goldsboro for more than 28 years of service. He began his career on February 7, 1990 as a firefighter with Goldsboro Fire Department. On March 12, 1997, Thomas was promoted to fire engineer with the Goldsboro Fire Department. On January 12, 2000, Thomas was promoted to fire captain with the Goldsboro Fire Department, where he has served until his retirement. Thomas has proven himself to be a dedicated and efficient public service who has gained the admiration and respect of his fellow workers and the citizens of the City of Goldsboro. Whereas the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Goldsboro are desirous on behalf of themselves, city employees, and the citizens of the City of Goldsboro of expressing to Thomas their deep appreciation and gratitude for the service rendered by him to the city over these years. Therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Goldsboro that we express our deep appreciation and gratitude for the dedicated service rendered during Thomas's tenure with the City of Goldsboro. Number 2, we offer Thomas our very best wishes for success, happiness, prosperity, and good health in his future endeavors. And this resolution shall be incorporated in the official minutes of the City of Goldsboro and shall be in full force and effect this after the 21st day of May 2018. I'll offer this for adoption.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Resolution passes. All right, one more. Resolution expresses appreciation for service rendered by Thomas Rice as an employee of the City of Goldsboro for more than 22 years. Thomas Rice retires on June 1, 2018 as a maintenance technician with the Public Works Department. City of Goldsboro for more than 22 years of service. Thomas began his career on December 13, 1995 as leaf collector with Public Works. On July 23, 1998, Thomas was promoted to Laborer 2 with Public Works. On January 1, 2016, Thomas' position was reclassified as a maintenance technician within the Public Works Department, where he has served until his retirement. Thomas has proven himself to be a dedicated, efficient public servant who has gained the admiration and respect of his fellow workers and the citizens of the City of Goldsboro, whereas the mayor and city council of the City of Goldsboro are desirous, on behalf of themselves, city employees, and the citizens of the City of Goldsboro, expressing to Thomas their deep appreciation and gratitude for the service rendered by him to the City of Goldsboro over these years. Therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and the city council of the City of Goldsboro, number one, we express our deep appreciation and gratitude for the dedicated service rendered during Thomas's tenure with the City of Goldsboro. Two, we offer Thomas our very best wishes for success, happiness, prosperity, and good health in his future endeavors. This resolution shall be incorporated to the official minutes of the City of Goldsboro and shall be in full force and effect today, the 21st of May, 2018. I'll offer this resolution for adoption. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Man, we got a lot of retirements in the general services area with a lot of years, a lot of experience. So hopefully we got people coming up behind them and they can follow in their footsteps. So with that, we'll move to council member comments. Councilmember Williams.
Started with me last.
Do what?
You started with me last council meeting.
So do you want to comment or not?
No, you started with me last council meeting. You know how you switch.
Would you like me to switch to Councilmember Aycock?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Councilmember Aycock, any comment?
No comment.
Councilmember Foster?
No comment.
Councilmember Ham?
No comment.
Councilmember Broadway?
I just want to say a special thanks to those three individuals with sanitation department. I had numerous calls from people that those three people were helping a lot of elderly people, and I think it's special. And take those people, and you take the ones that are picking up the brush and all that, and you see what they're doing and the jobs they do. They do a terrific job. I just want.
All right, Councilmember
I
Williams.
just want to wish a happy Memorial Day to all our citizens.
All right, that's it.
That's it.
All right, and I just kind of following up on the manager, the Dillard alumni is this weekend, the parade's Saturday, they're having a event on Thursday night, I think at Goldsboro High School. Be a lot of Dillard folks coming into town, so we want to be sure they'll be in all our hotels, all our restaurants, so when you see them, just welcome them back to Goldsboro. And look forward to having them, and with that, we'll be recessed until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in the large conference room. Thank you everybody for coming.